What's good, people? Good evening. Thanks to everyone that jumped on the live on Sunday. It was good fun. I am going to continue doing those every single Sunday. I was actually thinking about doing like a live watch along for the AJ fight, but nah, there's no point. If I had like 2 or 3 people to watch it with, I would do it. But I'm not doing it by myself. No way. I might. Nah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I will do a Q&A. I was thinking that the lives would replace the Q&A, but yeah, I don't get through enough questions on the live. Just far too many questions come in. So I'm going to do a Q&A soon, very soon, like in a couple of days. We'll just put the questions out there because a lot of people are still asking for the Q&As. But yeah, the lives will be every Sunday. So make sure you put that in your diary. Every Sunday, 5 or 6 o'clock, so we can get him out early. All right, the big man is back. Anthony Joshua is back this Saturday against KUBRAT Pulev. We've not seen AJ in the ring since his fight against Andy Ruiz in Saudi Arabia. Different AJ then, right? Different AJ, a lot slimmer, not as destructive. Definitely boxed to a game plan. And it was a case of just get your belts back. That's all it was. Get your belts back and we move on. And he got his belts back, and here we are now. Anthony Joshua versus his IBF mandatory, KUBRAT Pulev. KUBRAT Pulev. Before we talk about that fight individually, let's quickly look at the fight card, and let's do scores on the doors for this fight card. Let's have a look, 2 secs. Remember, it is pay-per-view. It is $24.95. So it's a bit more than we're used to. Although AJ Ruiz, I think, was $24.95 as well. But we are used to the $19.95. It's creeping up. It's creeping up. I said this, and I think a few people laughed at me. I said AJ versus Fury. Don't be shocked if that fight happens. First of all, yeah, don't be shocked if that fight happens. But don't be shocked if that fight is $39.95. Maybe even more. Don't be shocked. And I know people might say this could never happen. Don't be shocked if that fight 50 quid. If that fight is 50 quid. I would still pay 50 quid for AJ Fury. No joke. Take my money. Take it right now. But I know some people will have heart attacks if AJ versus Fury is 50 quid. Bear in mind that, and we'll talk about this on a separate video, Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul is probably going to be about $80. Bear that in mind. All right, let's have a look. So we got Florian Marcoux. That's Sam Jones's welterweight. He's taking on Alex Fearon. Obviously, Florian Marcoux is 7-0. I think, could be wrong, but I think Eddie just recently signed him as well. So it's good to get him out. He's in an 8-rounder. Who else have we got here? Ashfaq, 8-1. He's fighting Ashley Lane, who's 14-9, so it's a bit of a gimme fight. A super bantam, that is. Hughie Fury, we might do a separate video on this one. Hughie Fury is fighting Marius Vac. He's going to beat Marius Vac, isn't he? I mean, look, Marius Vac's steady and he's a good gatekeeper, but his feet are so slow, and Hughie Fury moves around the ring quite well. Kieran Conway versus Macaulay McGowan. Martin Bakole is fighting Sergey Kuzman. That's, by the way, is for a WBC international shot. They were supposed to fight on the White Povetkin card. I think Kuzman tested positive for COVID. I don't think it was an injury. I think it was COVID, so he was removed. Lawrence Okoli, this is the Chiefs of Paul, unbeaten. He fights Nikodem Jezuski. This guy actually fought on Saturday. I think it's the guy. Let's have a look. I think it's the same dude that I thought it was. Yeah, this guy. No, is it the same dude? Maybe not. Maybe it's not the same dude. But anyway, he thought it's a Nikodem Jezuski. I don't know then, because it doesn't say here on BoxRec that it's for a vacant title. So I'm guessing it isn't anymore. So maybe he's not fighting for a world title anymore, which is a shame. Look, he still gets to fight, but that's a shame. And it does take something away. Obviously, it was supposed to be Glowacki, but Glowacki tested positive for COVID. So it does take something away, a little bit of glamour from this fight card, I think. And obviously, we've got AJ versus Pulev. It's all right. It's all right. It's not, I mean, yeah, it's all right. Ramla Ali was supposed to fight on this card as well, female fighter. She's under AJ's management. She was supposed to fight on this card. She isn't. 6. I think Kuzman versus Bakoli is going to be a very good fight. Lawrence Okoli, I think, will beat his guy. I don't know too much about Jazuski, but I think he'll beat his guy comfortably. Huey Fury will beat Marius Vac comfortably. 6, 5.5, 6. So it's not super impressive. I'll be honest with you though, I've said this before. Like, I sometimes just tune in to these big fight cards just for the main event. Anything else is almost a bonus. Like, I don't take my pay-per-view money and I mean, what I'm trying to say is that when I pay pay-per-view for a fight like this, it's not a pay-per-view card. I'm paying for the pay-per-view main event. Anything else is like, whatever. Some people might argue and say AJ versus Pulev isn't a pay-per-view fight in terms of it being a competitive fight. I think it actually is a competitive fight. I don't think this is easy work for AJ at all. I really don't. AJ, you guys obviously know I'm a massive AJ fan. But now he's been beaten, we know that there's vulnerability there. We kind of knew there was vulnerability there anyway. If you go and watch the Povetkin fight, Povetkin hurt him. Hurt him definitely. I think it was round 3. Obviously, Dillian White, everyone kind of references that one, had the up and down with Klitschko. So we know there's vulnerability there. I didn't ever think that AJ was this wrecker machine that was going to go through his career without vulnerability. But the Ruiz one just highlighted how much vulnerability there is there. That shocked a lot of people. It shocked me. I nearly had a fucking heart attack when that happened. No joke. I was literally like, I couldn't believe what was going on. I couldn't believe it. From the very first round, I was like, oh my God. So there's vulnerability there with AJ, and a lot of the boxers now can see that. I remember an interview with KUBRAT PULEV. This is prior to the Ruiz fight, and he was asked about fighting AJ, and he was quite hesitant about it. But again, now he's super confident that he can be the guy to beat AJ again. KUBRAT PULEV has only lost once as well, and that was to Klitschko. And that was the Klitschko. Like, that was the best version of Vladimir Klitschko that he lost to. Remember, he has beaten the likes of, and look, these aren't in AJ's level, but Huey Fury tried to go over there and think he was going to do the job, beat him, beat Derek Chisora comfortably as well. So he's a good fighter. He's a big, strong fighter. Great jab. It's not easy work. It's not easy work. He's, like most people have KUBRAT PULEV as a top 10. He's kind of a guy that's been in and around the top 10 for like, I don't know, nearly 10 years. I don't know if he deserves to be in the top 10, but he's been there. He's been in and around the top 10 for so long. So look, it really does depend what AJ turns up. I've watched AJ in the lead up to this. We've seen a bit of the work he's been doing on the pads, and I can kind of see what he's trying to work on. He looks like he's put back on a bit of weight. So he's definitely not coming in as light as he did against Ruiz. No chance. Ruiz, I think it was, 16-11 or 16-10 or something. He's going to be in and around the 17-6, 17-7. So I think he's going to be a lot more bigger, and he needs to be bigger because KUBRAT PULEV's quite a big guy as well. And Pulev isn't as nimble as obviously as a Ruiz. AJ had to come lighter just because he had to kind of keep up or try and match Ruiz's hand speed and even a bit of foot speed. Ruiz is big, but for a big guy, this is why I was so upset about Ruiz coming in heavy. For a big guy, Ruiz can move. Ruiz, 30, 40 pounds lighter is going to be a problem. KUBRAT PULEV doesn't have that. He's not mobile like Ruiz. In fact, he's not mobile at all. He's a bit flat-footed, but he's very smart with his boxing. He's got a really good boxing IQ. He, like AJ though, has been quite inactive. I don't know if you guys remember that issue he had with the, I think the Asian reporter, so he got suspended for that. So he's not been active at all, KUBRAT PULEV. Interesting fight, this one. When this fight was supposed to happen, 3 years ago when AJ fought Carlos Takam instead, I would have said AJ by knockout, and I would have said it so convincingly that AJ just going to destroy him. Now though, I don't say that as confidently. I think AJ will stop him. I think he'll stop him late, but it's not without caution. Like, I can't pretend to you as an AJ fan, I'm not slightly nervous. We are hearing, and I say hearing, Eddie Hearn has said that he hopes Tyson Fury will be ringside. Don't know why, if I'm honest with you. It's a bit strange, Tyson Fury being ringside. It's not like the fight is made if AJ wins. That's not how it's going to happen, right? I mean, there are still a few hurdles in there. Usyk's a hurdle, Wilder's a hurdle, and any other thing could be a hurdle. So I don't see the point of Fury being ringside. I do think AJ will benefit from fans massively. It's only 1,000 fans, but 1,000 fans in an indoor arena is going to sound like a lot more than 1,000 fans. So what I do hope, because I did see there was ringside tickets available. I don't know if it's a first come, first served basis. I haven't tried to get tickets myself. I hope that it's 1,000 fans that would normally be in the bleachers, the ones that make the noise. I hope it isn't a case of 100 suited and booted people ringside that don't make noise. AJ wants fans that are going to scream and shout his name. So I hope it's those type of fans and not your corporate guys that, you know, they're trying to sell tickets to make some money back. I hope that isn't the case. But what do you guys think in terms of this fight for AJ? I think it's tough because Pulev has a better jab and AJ likes to set his shots with jab, but I think he's going to be out-jabbed in this fight. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I go AJ late. I think AJ will get the job done between 7 and 10. Fingers crossed, but I wouldn't be shocked if he has to come through a lot of adversity against, again, a guy that's only been beaten once, and that was to Vladimir Klitschko. A fight I really do like on this one, though, is Bakole versus Kuzman. I think that's going to be an interesting fight. Bakole's done well, I think, to kind of rebuild after that Michael Hunter defeat, and that was a bad defeat, but he did have an injury in that. I think he was pretty much fighting with one hand in that fight. So, well, for the second half of the fight until he got stopped. So that's going to be an interesting fight against him versus Kuzman. Hughie Fury, let's see what he can do against Marius Vac. He thinks he's world class. I saw an interview where he thinks he should be fighting the world level guys. I don't know about that. Again, this isn't the, like, my thing with Hughie Fury is it's so frustrating. The 3 losses are to Povetkin, Parker, and Pulev. He beats these kind of guys like a Marius Vac, even though Marius Vac's are definitely Marius Vac could be the biggest name on his resume if he gets the win, but it's not that kind of person I'm talking about. I want him to fight guys in and around sort of the top 25. A great name for Hughie Fury, great name. There isn't enough money in the fight, and it might be quite dull, but in terms of an opponent, Joe Joyce. I'd love to see that fight, Joe Joyce versus Hughie Fury. Don't know if that can happen. I don't know if Hughie Fury will call him out after the fight. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, Joe's with Frank. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for it. I'm going to do a few more videos in the lead up to this fight. But let's hope the big man wins. Let's hope we can start the sell for AJ Fury. Let's hope Pulev doesn't fucking throw a spanner in the works. Peace.